Welcome to Mind Your Health podcast, dedicated to empowering you on your journey to optimal wellness. I'm your host, Dr. Connie, bringing over 25 years of experience in psychology, nutrition, physical therapy, functional medicine, and yoga. Together, we'll explore the interconnectedness of mind, body, and spirit, providing you with the practical insights and holistic strategies to elevate your health. Let's dive into today's episode and take a step closer to a healthier, more vibrant you.
Hey everyone, this is Dr. Connie. Happy New Year's. I don't know what your New Year's resolution has been, but for me, it's been a very emotional last few weeks. I was sick through the flu over the holidays. We had family in town and I was teaching a lot of classes and thinking about my business. But oh my gosh, when you're sick, it really muddies up so much of your motivation and inspiration. And I'm typically one of those people who sets like clear expectations for the year, and I usually keep them, but I really haven't had much clarity, mental clarity, because I think one, I was really feeling sorry for myself as compared to a year ago where I had just kidney transplanted and I was so sick from it as it started to fail. So there's been a lot of things that I've been kind of navigating. And that is what I'm going to talk to you about from the heart today, is all about the overachiever identity. Because I think for as long as I can remember, I was the quintessential overachiever. And my value, self-value and identity was so highly defined by that. My life was a series of goals, achievements, and the relentless pursuit of excellence in my mind. And whether in academics, career, or personal endeavors, I thrived on success and its validation. And this identity wasn't just a part of me, but the core of who I believed I was. However, life has a way of challenging our deepest convictions, and my challenge came in the form of severe health crisis. In 2020, leading into 2021, with the COVID outbreak, it was a very stressful time for me, for my business and all my future and my kids and everything. There was a lot going on as I navigated through this. There were some hardships, like severe relationship breakups and, hurtful goodbyes. And it was a very confusing time for me. And although I've lived with lupus for over 20 years now, it led into kidney failure that year. It was pretty fast. At first, it was all about the hypertension that they couldn't manage, and it was very puzzling to my nephrologist as well as my rheumatologist. The only variable that changed was that I had 2 back-to-back COVID vaccines in order for me to travel despite all the lockdowns that was happening. It was a period where COVID vaccine was being pushed heavily. Not going to say anything more about that, but ultimately my kidneys failed within 6 months, and it was puzzling time for my doctors, but the most traumatic time for me. I ultimately had to go on dialysis, and a year later I had a kidney transplant, and I thought, oh my gosh, I was out of the woods, and should I be so lucky? But suddenly, the very traits that had defined me were kind of slipping away because that the transplant failed, and I had to go through the recovery of all that. And all my drive, determination, and control were rendered powerless against the reality of my condition. And even to this day, I still wake up every day in the pursuit of those things, despite all the things that's happening within me, and really hit the breaking point. Because facing a debilitating illness was more than a physical battle. Kidney failure is no joke. It was an existential crisis. And on top of it, I think I was going through some midlife crisis too. I could no longer rely on my overachieving nature to fix the problem as I did before. This strategy completely out the door, complete control and understanding out the door. And this loss of control led to a profound identity crisis for me. Who was I, if not the achiever, the doer, the one who owed together, seemingly, right? My external world also shifted as I grappled with these internal struggles. Relationships with my family and the close friends became strained. They were all accustomed to self-sufficient, and my vulnerability made them uncomfortable, leading to distance and misunderstandings. And the support I desperately needed, and it felt out of reach, deepening my isolation, like deep within. I didn't know how to be sick or even ask for help. So I really fell into this depths of loneliness, and I think many of you who are facing this is why I am doing this podcast, because I think it's not talked about in the light of health and wellness. Because loneliness hits hard during this period, and it was very pervasive during this time. Surrounded by people who loved me, I still felt profoundly alone. They couldn't fully understand the emotional and the psychological turmoil I was experiencing show up as the leader that I am, and I was like in complete breakdown mode. And this isolation wasn't just about being physically alone, but it was about the chasm between my internal reality and the external perceptions of those around me. And that was really hard. And in this solitude, I was forced to confront the facets of my identity beyond achievements. I had to ask myself the difficult questions. Who am I without my accomplishments and my capability? I felt so incompetent. What value do I hold when I can no longer perform or produce at the same level? It was really confusing for me, and it was really hard. Navigating an identity crisis can be a profound and challenging experience, especially when compounded by the cultural backdrop of an immigrant. However, emotional expression is often discouraged, and that was the condition by which I was raised. In such environments, emotions may be viewed as nuisances, leading to individuals like me to suppress their feelings and continually push forward. That was what I was told. Just move forward, ignore your feelings, don't show them. It's disrespectful, and we have a reputation to uphold in this family, and that's what I was taught. And the suppression can result in a disconnection from one's true self, me particularly, exacerbating the identity crisis. And I had to go through all of this all at the same time. And in my journey, yoga emerged, and that's why I'm such a believer of yoga, because it was a transformative practice facilitating reconnection with my authentic self. And to think, whenever somebody said, be your authentic self, I used to cringe because I thought, don't waste your time. Just go do the thing, but the best thing to do next, right? I was very harsh, and I was just all about go forward, achieve, no matter what. But when I couldn't, this really put me down. And through mindful movements, through yoga and meditative aspects of yoga, I began to peel away the layers of societal and familiar expectations, delving deeper into my inner being. And I can't tell you how that happened, but it just happened when I connected with my body. The practice encouraged me to confront the suppressed emotions, allowing for a safe space to explore and express feelings that had long been buried. And I felt them in my body, and I felt them release with every breath and every asana, every vinyasa that I did. And yoga's emphasis on self-awareness and presence enabled me to observe my thoughts and emotions without judgment towards myself. This non-judgmental awareness was crucial in understanding the origins of my identity crisis and the role that emotional suppression played in its development. This was truly profound, you guys. And as I progressed in my practice, I found that the physical asanas and the breath work, the pranayama, strengthened my body and cultivated mental clarity and emotional resilience. Without that, I'm not sure where I'd be right now. Because engaging in yoga also introduced me to a supportive community of individuals on similar paths of self-discovery and healing. And sharing experiences and insights with others, it really provided a sense of belonging and validation and connection that I so needed. I didn't even need to talk about it with them. It's just being in the same room, breathing through the same asanas, and really struggling through all the poses, and then coming outside of it in Shavasana as a teacher and a student. This was everything that my body needed. And this reinforced the understanding that I was not alone in my struggles. And this communal aspect of yoga was instrumental in rebuilding my self-identity and confidence. And through consistent practice, yoga became a mirror reflecting my true self, untainted by external expectations or suppressed emotions, and it offered a holistic approach to healing, addressing the physical, mental, and emotional facets of my being. And ultimately, yoga guided me back to myself, facilitating a harmonious integration of my past experiences with a renewed sense of identity and purpose. And again, I don't know how it happened. I can't intellectually explain other than you've got to try it for yourself. So then I had to redefine identity and my relationships around me. And answering these questions required a deep introspective journey. And I began to explore aspects of myself that had been overshadowed by my overachieving persona, and creativity, vulnerability, and the capacity to simply be rather than to do. And this was really powerful. And this self-exploration was both liberating and terrifying, honestly. Simultaneously, I had to navigate the complexities of my relationships. And some connections couldn't withstand the changes, leading to painful but necessary separations. Others transformed, deepening through honest communication and mutual understanding. I learned to set boundaries, express my needs, and accept support and actions foreign to my former self. And that was really hard, and it was revelatory. So I want you to understand that there is an impact of unresolved emotions on physical health, because during this transformative period, I became acutely aware of how my unresolved emotions and toxic thought patterns were affecting me or my physical health. And suppressing feelings of fear, lots of anger, and sadness only intensified my physical symptoms. And I learned that our bodies often manifest what our minds attempt to ignore. Like, really hear me when I say that our bodies often manifest what our minds attempt to ignore. Like, oh my gosh, that was huge. And research has shown that repressed emotions can lead to a whole range of health issues, including increased blood pressure, weakened immune system, and digestive problems. For instance, unresolved anger has been linked to heart disease, as it can increase blood pressure and constrict blood vessels. All right, and how do you heal then through emotional processing? Because recognizing the need to address my unresolved emotions, because I saw that I had so much anger and fear, I turned to various therapeutic practices. Mindfulness, meditation allowed me to sit with my feelings without judgment and just be in the rut. While journaling provided an outlet for expression, various books and journaling offered a safe space to explore and process deep-seated emotions. But it also took me deep into my negative thoughts and emotions to fully feel them, which was a no-no in the past. I would just busy myself with the next busy thing, But this time I sat with them, and that was so profound. And through these practices, I began to notice improvements in my physical health, and my energy levels increased, and chronic pain diminished, and I felt renewed vitality. It was not about what I eat. I made better food choices. I was better aware. I was chewing and enjoying my food more. And I even developed a brand new relationship with food. And I realized how toxic that was for a very long time. I'm a very picky eater. I don't have the best relationship with food. And I cultivated this love towards my physical body in a way where I started to pay attention to what I consumed, but I also started to enjoy what I enjoyed, okay? I became evident that helping or healing my mind was integral to healing my body. So as a functional medicine expert and practitioner, that was huge. So let me share the lessons learned and how I'm going to move forward so that you can see yourself in my journey as well. Because for me, my journey has taught me the profound interconnectedness of our emotional and physical health. And for me, by acknowledging and processing my emotions, I learned that I can prevent the manifestation of physical ailments to promote overall well-being. It's a continuous process of self-awareness, acceptance, and growth. So I encourage you, as we start the new year, to reflect on your emotional health. Are there any unresolved feelings that might be impacting your physical well-being? Are you having an identity crisis? Consider exploring therapeutic practices that resonate with you. And remember, seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. And as I conclude, I just want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Mind Your Health. My story and insights, I hope to inspire you. And I want to connect with you more this year by sharing the truth of who I am, rather than just an overachiever of me that many of you might think is unreachable. I am more about being a human being, going through some really physical and chronic challenges that I must face. And for me, learning my health is my responsibility, and not holding any resentments of other people was key in me moving forward. And I know for me, I need to do it from a place of compassion and love, because at the end of the day, I have to redefine the relationships that has been strained and figure out if it's one that's worth reworking or it's one I simply want to let go of. And that's been truly liberating for me, because if it doesn't serve me, I shouldn't feel the need to stay in it and strain and affect my health in the process. So recently I found a book by Mel Robbins. Oh, she's so amazing. It's the book by her that's really helped me to reshape my thoughts too. And sometimes, teachers come in way of many things, but I believe they come at the right time. And it's a book about let them. and then she follows up with let me, so that you don't take your power away or give it to other people freely. It really brings the responsibility back to us. And I think that's the premise of everything that I want to build in this year, and really being truthful with you guys in the development of different programs that I have that is fully in alignment with truly me leaving something behind that's worthwhile. I want to use my suffering for good of you guys and the world and produce something amazing. And so if you're one of those people that's going through some hardships right now, please join me, subscribe to my channel, and leave me reviews, direct message me on @Dr. Connie Chung on Instagram. And I promise you that this year will be one that I'm going to show up as the truest form of myself, with an alignment and understanding that I only want to do you good in some way, shape, or form. And if I can reach at least one of you, I've done my job, and I feel like what a blessing for me to be doing what I'm doing. I am defying all odds, you guys, and I'm going to share with you exactly what's worked for me. And it's not the common things that we see on social media. It's really learning what hardships mean, but learning the lessons from them, not being victimized or defined by them. So thank you again for listening. This is Dr. Connie, and I will see you guys all next week with brand new content that brings value to your life. Thanks, you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Mind Your Health podcast. I hope you found our discussion insightful and inspiring. Remember, your journey to wellness is a continuous process, and every step you take brings you closer to optimal health. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others who might benefit. Stay also connected with us on @Dr. Connie Chung on YouTube as well as Instagram for more resources and updates. Until next time, take care of your mind, nurture your body, and